Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So it's Sunday, it's prep day, my favorite day of the week. I'm excited this week. I'm getting back to my overnight oats. I haven't made those in quite some time. So those are basically like a peanut butter overnight oats that are made with PB2. And for lunch this week, I am going to try something new. I always try something new. I don't know why I'm saying that, but this week for lunches, I'm going to do kind of like a sloppy Joe casserole. So it's going to be made with ground turkey breast to give it 0 points. And then I'm just going to use canned manwich and some O'Brien potatoes. So excited to get that. So if you want to see how I prep those for the week, and you also want to see my dinners prepared, how I prepackage those, make sure you stick around. And if you're new to my channel and you like videos like this, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the notification bell so that you're notified anytime that I upload new content. And welcome, my name is Christy and I am Planning Us Healthy. I'm starting off with lunches first because I need to cook them, and I figured I can get them cooking while I start on the overnight oats. So for the lunch this week, I'm doing the sloppy Joe casserole. Don't know how this is going to turn out. All right, so for this recipe, I'm using a pound of ground turkey breast, and of course that is 0. I am using a bag of Ore-Ida potatoes O'Brien with onions and peppers. The recipe that I'm doing, I put in that I was going to use 6 cups of it, but this is actually 6 3/4 cups for the whole bag. So I'm going to just go ahead and use the whole bag, and I'll just pull out a little bit before I put it together. These are going to be 4 points per serving, and I really want to keep them at that because I may end up wanting to put some Velveeta shreds on the top the day that I eat them. So I've just sprayed my pan. I'm not going to use olive oil. I'm just going to spray the pan and get that cooking. So I'm going to wait and let that heat up a little bit. And then for the rest of the recipe, it's just going to be a can of corn and a can of manwich. So you can use something different, or to completely put the points down, you don't even need to use that. You can just use the meat with the potatoes and the corn, and that's going to bring your points way down. I'm going to be making 6 servings of this lunch. All right, and then we'll get that going. And I am going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the turkey. And then I'm going to add some pepper to the potatoes. Actually, I'll probably add a little bit of salt too. And then I'm going to add some garlic powder. And I'm going to add some of that to the turkey as well. Okay everyone, so I am going to do the overnight oats. I actually have my laptop on the table this time because so many times I want to look up points to something and I have to run into the other room to check my laptop. I use my phone normally to look up points, but because you are on my phone right now, I need to keep running back to my laptop. So I have it right here just in case I need it. And I have my water. Anita at Chit Chat Patty Whack always tells us to drink our water, and I thought, you know what? I've really been struggling to get my water, and I have found that on prep days, by the time I'm done prepping, I realize that I have not drank anything. So we're gonna drink our water. All right, so for my overnight oats, they're super easy. So many people ask me whether I use instant oats or the old-fashioned oats. Honestly, I don't even pay attention. I just I guess I just grab them, and I've used both and I've not noticed a difference. So if anybody knows the difference or whether I should or shouldn't be using a certain kind, let me know. But I don't really pay attention to it. Sometimes they're the quick oats and sometimes they're not. For the overnight oats, these basically you just prep them, put everything together, and then you put them in the fridge and you get them out the next day and you eat them the way they are. You don't heat them or anything. Some people think that is just horrible and why would you eat cold oatmeal? But I like them. I don't see why you couldn't heat them up if you wanted to. I wouldn't suggest heating them with the fruit in it because I do top them with fruit, but I really like them that way. You just kind of have to find your own way. There are a ton of different ways to make them. You can Google overnight oats and you will see so many. So what I have done is just taken different ideas and put them together and have come up with what I like. So you may not like the way these taste, and you have to kind of find your own preference of the taste. Mine are not overly sweet. The only thing that I'm actually going to be adding sugar-free syrup this time. I don't normally do that. Usually I just add a packet of sugar, but I'm going to add that and see what it does. So I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of oats to each jar, and we are going to be having these 3 mornings. My husband will have 3 and I will have 3. And then the other 2 mornings I will have my cereal, and he usually will have like a yogurt or something the other 2 mornings. And then I do a 1/2 cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Again, it's all about taste preference, so you can use whatever you want to use. And then we are going to use 1/4 cup of Fage yogurt in each one. And this is the fat-free yogurt. So if you want to use a little bit more, you can, because this is 0 points. So I don't weigh this, I just kind of plop about 1/4 cup in each one. And then next I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. So for the PB2, I am going to add 2 tablespoons to each one. And for this, I'm actually going to use the scale. I'm going to use the tablespoon as a guide, but with PB2, you can easily end up using too much. So I always try to weigh this out. So 2 tablespoons is 13 grams. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add just a splash of vanilla to each one. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar-free, I use sugar-free Mrs. Butterworth syrup. So this is my first time using the syrup in it. Usually I use a packet of sweetener, but I'm going to try it this way, so I'll see how I like it. Okay, and then I usually just take a knife and stir it all up. I'm a little bit leery about the vanilla and the syrup together. So, we'll see. I will tell you, I have had times where I've made overnight oats and I ended up not eating them because I just didn't care for the flavor. Sometimes you can add things to them and make them a little bit better, but sometimes you can't. And that's the thing with overnight oats, you really have to find what works for you. And then I usually add chia seeds to these, and they are 5 points, but I'm all out of chia seeds, so these are actually only going to be 4 points. Okay, and then after they're stirred together, then we're just going to add some blueberries. I just top them with a little bit of blueberries and some banana. And I usually just cut up one banana into them. So you can put whatever fruit you want. I sometimes use strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. It just depends what I have on hand that week. All right, so that is it for the overnight oats. What we're gonna do is just go ahead and put the tops on them, and I will put them in the refrigerator overnight, and they will be good, and then we'll just eat them right out of the jar in the morning. So let me put the tops on the rest of these, and then we'll get back to the lunch. All right, so our lunch is done. So I went ahead and put my can of corn in with the potatoes. And what I ended up doing is just using half a can of that manwich, which is about 3/4 of a cup. So that is going to lower this down to 3 points for each serving instead of 4. So that way when I add my cheese, it'll just be 4 points. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is weigh out how much we have all together. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the turkey into the potatoes. It smells good. With the new stuff I'm trying this week, between the overnight oats, I'm just really worried about doing those different. Sometimes it's better to stick with the way you normally do things, but I'm kind of worried because I might not be eating this week. Now I think this is going to be really good. I am worried about the oats though. All right, so just mix that all together, and then put your bowl on your scale, zero it out, and then go ahead and just put everything into the bowl. And this way you're going to determine how much you can put in each serving. So anything that you make like this is how you would do it. You would just take the whole amount and weigh it out, and then just divide it by however number of servings you are going to make. And sometimes you can play around with the number of servings and realize that you could have, instead of 6 servings, you could make it into 5 servings, and the points sometimes stay the same. So you kind of have to play around with things like that. So it is actually 13/12. I'm good in math, but I'm not that good. So 13/12 divided by 6 is 218.66666666666. So we're going to say 218. So we know 218 grams can go in each container. I am also going to go ahead and, because you guys know how I feel about these 3-compartment containers, I really need to invest in some single compartment and some 2-compartment ones, because I just have a really bad pet peeve about one of the compartments being empty. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up some carrots to put in with each one. So then just zero that out and go ahead and weigh out 218 grams. And it looks like that's going to be a pretty good portion. Alright, so my phone died while I was doing that, so I went ahead and got all the lunches together. So we are done with lunches, so the next thing I'm going to do is finish breakfast. I have the overnight oats done, but I need to go ahead and measure out my cereal for the other 2 days. Okay guys, so I thought I was done with lunches. I decided to go ahead and add some Velveeta shreds. So I'm just adding, it's going to end up being 1/8 of a cup, so 14 grams to each one, and then that's just going to be a point. So these will end up being 4 points each. So they are going to end up looking like that. So that's pretty good for 4 points. All right, so now I'll finish putting the cheese on these, and then I will come back to you. All right, so for the rest of the other 2 breakfasts, I'm going to do my cereal. If you're new to my channel, I use Fiber One original cereal. I measure out, weigh out 30 grams in a bag, and then I use a 1/2 cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk, and I just go ahead and put those in containers, and then I just take these right to work with me, and sometimes I'll cut up a banana in it, or sometimes I'll just eat it the way it is. These are 2 points and these are 0 points. So that is those for breakfast. And then for fruit bowls this week, we're just going to do cantaloupe. Actually, we're going to do cantaloupe and bananas. So sometimes we do berries, and we do something different each week, but cantaloupe we try and do pretty much weekly because we really like cantaloupe. So I'm just going to finish cutting these into the bowls, and what we do is we just each take one of the bowls and just snack out on it throughout the week. I need to get my other top for this one. So that's it for breakfast and lunch and snacks. The other snacks I'm going to be using are yogurt, puddings, my pretzels. I gotta weigh out my pretzels. So for my pretzels, I just weigh out one portion, which is 28 grams. And I go ahead and just put them in the snack bags. And then throughout the week, I usually do about 4 of them. And then usually I eat these at nighttime. And I just dip them in 2 tablespoons of the Aldi queso, the queso dip. Or I put a Laughing Cow cheese wedge in here and have that with it as well. So the pretzels, one portion of the pretzels is 3 points, and then the cheese, regardless whether it's the queso dip or the Laughing Cow cheese, is 1. So it's a 4-point snack total. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more of these, and then we'll start on with the dinners. Okay, so now it is time for dinner. So for those of you new to my channel, for dinners, I don't prepare it like I do breakfast and lunch. I'm just portioning everything out, putting it into a marked bag. I have the bag marked with what's on it and how many smart points it is per serving. Normally when I portion these out, I portion it out for 2 servings for my husband and I. So if you are it's just you that's doing this, you could still do it for 2 portions and have it 1 for dinner and then 1 portion for lunch if you wanted to do that. So normally it's 2. Sometimes I do 4 portions, and for example, for this one that I'm doing tonight is Airfryer flounder. And for the topping for the fish, I am actually doing enough for 4 servings. So what I'm going to do is just end up using half of it, and then I will save the other half. I'll have the other half already prepped for another night. So I just mark it. I'll just mark what it is and keep it in my fridge or the pantry. So that's pretty much how I do my dinners. It just saves on time, and it saves from overeating. This way, if I only have so much made, then I'm not going to overeat because there's not going to be anything left. So that is pretty much how I do that one. So on these, I don't do cook-alongs. If you're following along with these, it's just to prepare it, get it packaged into the bags, and then I do put the recipes for everything down in the description box below. I do sometimes put cook with me's out there, and if they're already out there, I'll always link a card up above. And if not, sometimes during that week I will do a cook with me as well. So for tonight, this is air fryer flounder. I do have a fish and fries cook with me out there from when I first started, so I can go ahead and link that too. But it's one from when I first started. It's a little bit different than this one. So all I'm doing for this one is I have 1 pound of potatoes that I'm going to go ahead and put in the bag. So I don't cut everything, I don't wash everything, just go ahead and put it in the bag. And then I have measured out the topping. So again, the topping is for 4 servings. So I'm going to end up halving it. So in this bag is 1/3 of a cup of flour, and then just mixed with some pepper. I'm also going to end up using an egg for this recipe. I'm going to dip the fish in the egg, but I'm not going to put that in the bag. And then this topping is 2/3 of a cup of cornflakes, 1 tablespoon of grated Parmesan, and just a little bit of cayenne pepper, which you could definitely leave the cayenne pepper out. And then for this night, I'm going to go ahead and do like a cucumber salad with it. So I'm just going to throw some of these little mini cucumbers in there. And then the fish I'm using is the frozen flounder from Aldi. So I will probably use 2 of those, and 2 big ones. And so these ones I will not leave out. I'm going to end up just leaving these in the freezer, but I've just got them out just to show you what it is that I use. But I won't keep these. Normally, when I package everything like this, I just put the bag in the fridge. But for this night, for the fish, I'm going to leave that in the freezer, and I will get it out after I get home from work. So that is going to be it for that one. So the next one that I'm going to make is turkey tenderloin with ranch cauliflower and rice pilaf. So for this one, you guys have seen me put together the ranch cauliflower. We absolutely love it. It is basically just cauliflower drizzled with a mixture of light sour cream and ranch dressing mix, and it is so good. So I made it one time. I think I have a cook with me out there for, there was some kind of meatballs. I want to say turkey meatballs, and I made it with that in that cook with me. And ever since then, I love making it with everything. So basically, I just buy a head of cauliflower. I cut it into pieces, and then I'm just going to go ahead and throw the cauliflower into the bag. And then the night that I make it, I'm going to dump this into a colander and wash it out in the sink. So this way it's just already in there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is get, oh, you guys, I got a mess over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh out 2 ounces of sour cream. Okay, so it's 2 ounces of sour cream and 1 teaspoon of the ranch dressing mix. So this is actually a half a teaspoon, so I'm going to just use this twice. And then just stir that all up. And then that way the topping is already ready, and it's one last thing that you have to do that night. And I am telling you, I thought that I had it together, and I have a lot of different ways of doing things, but I'm getting so many more ideas from you guys. People are putting in comments to give me suggestions on different ways to save even more time, and ways to save even more on cleanup and things like that. So keep those ideas coming. I'm not an expert. I am not an expert. This is just what I do and how I've always done it. So if you guys have ideas, please throw them out there. Don't think that you can't, you know, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, if she did it this way, it would be a lot quicker. Put that in the comments and let me know, because that is definitely a help. Okay, so we have the cauliflower in the bag. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this in the bag, and then I'm just going to use the 90-second ready rice. So I don't necessarily keep that in the fridge, but for these purposes, I'll put it in there. And some people have asked me, because I made a comment about for visual purposes, I'm putting it in the bag. So for the most part, everything I put in the bag, I just seal the bag up and put it in the fridge, the way it is with the meat and everything. I don't put the meat in the fridge for any longer than 4 days, so I don't prep out farther than 4 days. But when I say about visual purposes, for example, I'm putting this rice in this bag, but I'm just doing it for the purposes of doing this video. And when I do the spread at the end and I show everything, this is in there just to show that's what I'm having with it. Once I shut the camera off, this comes out of the bag and goes into my pantry, because I'm not going to keep this in the fridge. And then everything else will go in the fridge. As far as the meats, with the exception of the flounder, all the meats stay in the bag. So for this one, I have 10 ounces of turkey tenderloin. So I'm putting the turkey tenderloin in this bag, and I am going to leave this in the fridge. So this is going to go in the fridge just like this, with this stuff in it, and I'll put the rice back in my cabinet. But for visual purposes, for the video, so you guys can see what I'm having with everything, that's why I leave it in the bag. The same with the flounder. When I do the spread at the end and I show everything, I'll put the flounder in there just to show it in there, but then that'll stay in my freezer. So I hope I clarified that, because I know some of you had questions about how I do that. So that's it for this one. So now we will go on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is air fryer chicken parmesan. If you guys remember on my meal plan, I wasn't sure if I was going to do Instant Pot or air fryer. I'm not comfortable with the Instant Pot yet, so I am going to do air fryer. And I was going to do like a salad with this one and broccoli. I'm not sure. I think I might just do broccoli, and then I may do a side salad with it, but I'm not going to put the salad stuff in here just in case I don't have it. So I'm just going to do broccoli with it. And this is one huge chicken breast. So this is actually a Skinny Taste recipe, and I'll have the link down below. But this is one huge chicken breast, and what I did is just sliced it to thin it. And I sliced it into two by thickness, and made 2 breasts out of it. So I'm going to put that in the bag. For the topping, you just need 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs and 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. When I use my breadcrumb toppings, I always do a mixture of panko and the regular seasoned breadcrumbs. So I have about 1.5 tablespoons of panko and 1.5 tablespoons of the regular seasoned breadcrumbs, and then 1 tablespoon of Parmesan in this bag. And that will be for the topping. Instead of marinara, I am going to be using some of these are like the Rotel tomatoes. It's the diced tomatoes with green chilies. So instead of marinara on the top of them, I'm going to use some of that, and then I will put my cheese over top of that. And then I have here, I like to shred my own mozzarella, and the Polio part skim mozzarella is actually only 2 points for 1 ounce. You do have to watch your cheeses. Sometimes the bag cheese that's already shredded does have more points than the kind that you shred yourself. And they say this kind is actually better for you, so, but who knows. Nowadays, I don't know what's good for you and what's not, so I try not to dwell on it. So, again, 3 tablespoons of the mozzarella cheese. And then that's all that we're going to have in that one. And I just try and lay it so that it lays flat. Because when I put these in the refrigerator, I lay them flat on top of each other. So just try and get it the best you can. All right, so there's that one. And we have one more. As you guys know, I only prep 4 nights worth of dinners. Friday nights, I don't need to prep. Because I don't have to work the next day. I'm not usually in a hurry, and Friday nights I don't usually have work on my home job, so Friday nights are usually good. All right, so the next one we're going to put together is air fryer. Oh, I'm using my air fryer this week, y'all. Air fryer bacon wrapped pork tenderloin. So let me put this away and get that out. Okay, so this one again is air fryer bacon wrapped pork tenderloin with roasted potatoes and carrots. I may end up just roasting this in the oven with the carrots and potatoes rather than using the air fryer. But I'm still going to be preparing it the same way. So I'll decide. So the night that we have it, I'll decide whether I'm going to do it that way or not. So all I'm going to do for this is just cut the ends off the carrots. When I roast my carrots, I actually don't peel them. I use regular carrots. I'm not a fan of the baby carrots that are in the little bags. I don't know why. So I prefer regular carrots. And I just cut the ends off, and then I don't peel them. I just wash them really good with a vegetable brush, and then roast them that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some carrots in the bag. I'll do a couple more. And then for this one, I just used about 3/4 of a pound of potatoes, which is about this. This potato is 12 ounces, so I'm just going to put that in there. When I do the carrots, the way that I cut them all into kind of like fry strips, even the carrots, and then I just kind of mix them all together. So I always try and use more of the carrots rather than the potato. So I think that's good there. And then I have 10 ounces of pork tenderloin. This was actually a pork tenderloin I had bought on a previous week, and I split it into two. I do that a lot. In fact, tonight with the chicken, you guys probably saw I had a big package of chicken in my haul the other day. So I only used one of the breasts. So for the other breasts, I went ahead and cut them and I portioned those separate and put them in my freezer, and I'll just pull them out for next time. So that whole big thing of chicken I bought is going to make probably four or five dinners. I can't remember if it was 4 breasts or 5, but they're big breasts, and so when they're big like that, we usually just split one. Because again, you guys hear me say all the time, 0 point foods are not free. So we still need to watch how much we're eating for portions. It's all about portion control. This is the Aldi Bacon. It's Appleton Farms center cut bacon that I get. Why do I always say bacon? It is Appleton Farms center cut bacon that I get at Aldi. And this bacon is 1 point for 2 slices. So I'm going to probably put 2 slices around each part of ours. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull 4 slices out. And just throw them in a bag. And that will go in there. And then the rest of this I will just put in a gallon bag, and I'm probably going to put this in the freezer because I don't think I'm going to be using it for anything else this week. So I will put that away in the freezer. And then for the potatoes and the carrots, those are just going to be basic roasted potatoes and carrots, nothing special. So dinner prep this week wasn't too bad at all. It was pretty basic. I try to keep my meals basic. I try to keep everything with things that we have on hand or things that we normally buy. I don't like meals with a whole bunch of ingredients. I like to keep it basic. I like to keep it quick. So by prepping these dinners like this, I am literally going to be able to come home and my prep to get dinner going and on the stove and ready. Some of these meals I'm going to have done and on the table in 15 minutes. Others, depending on how long they have to roast, this is going to take longer to roast, obviously. All right, so there's that one. So you guys, I think we're done for this week. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll get the whole spread out and show you what we ended up with. All right, so this is what we ended up with for this week. So I'll start down here with the snacks. We have our fruit bowl, which this week is just cantaloupe and banana. And then we have yogurt. We have our Snack Factory chocolate puddings, which are 2 points. The queso dip for the pretzels is 28 ounces, which is 3 points. And then the queso dip is 1 point for 2 tablespoons. And then I may end up deciding not to use the queso dip and I'll use Laughing Cow cheese instead. And then for breakfast, we did our overnight oats. I love these too, so you could just see. So I will put down below whether I liked it or not after I try them. I should try them before the video goes up. And then I have my half a cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk for 0, and my cereal for 2 points, the Fiber One original cereal. And then our lunches, I think these turned out really good. So for each lunch, it's going to be 4 points because I did add the cheese to it. So if you didn't do cheese, then it would just be 3 points for these. And then for dinners this week, we're doing the air fryer flounder with potato wedges and cucumber salad, and then air fryer chicken parmesan. I didn't put what I'm having with that because I think it's just going to be broccoli, and then I'm not sure about the salad yet with that one. And then I did decide that I'm not going to do the air fryer since I have 2 other air fryer meals. So this one I'm just going to roast. So it's going to be bacon roasted in the oven, bacon wrapped pork tenderloin with roasted potatoes and carrots. And then turkey tenderloin, I'll just throw that in the oven too. And that is with ranch cauliflower and rice pilaf. So I'll probably just put the turkey on the same tray with the cauliflower and roast those together. So that is what we ended up with. All right, guys, so that's another week. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for my husband and I. So if you're still with me and you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out on YouTube. It lets them know that you like my videos, which helps me out in the long run. So I greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate all of you. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your advice that you give me. I appreciate everything. If you are new and you like seeing this, please, again, I hope that you'll join our little family here we have. We have a great group of people on this channel, and I hope that you will join us. And as always, I will put all the recipes down in the description box below. It will either have a link to the original recipe or it will have the actual recipe if it is something that I created. So that will always be in the description box on my videos. Sometimes I get the video up prior to all the recipes going in, but usually they're pretty much around the same time. So I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will talk to you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christy, and I am Planning Us Healthy.